don't know why. Why didn't you fix the intro? It's glitching. It's been glitching for weeks, and I want it to be perfect. We're on now. Great. I thought that was a test run. Oh, hey, welcome to the Perfect Podcast Show on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. I am your host, Keith, and everything's perfect on the show. It is the perfect podcast. Everything runs smoothly and perfect, and that is the goal. I try to create a perfect podcast. There's so many podcasts out there today, like 150 at least, and I want this one to be perfect. That way, every time you put on the Perfect Podcast Show, you always know you're going to get a perfect podcast show. It's in the name. So that's what we're trying to do, and we're off to a great start. With the intro still glitching out, but we'll fix that. But the rest of the show is going to be perfect because we have a really exciting guest coming up. And, just want it to be perfect. Just one show, everything to go smoothly. Want it to be perfect. You got to visualize it, to manifest it, to make it happen. And that's what I've been doing all week. When I turn off this show, all I do is I write affirmations like, this is going to be the perfect show. This is going to be the perfect show. And today is going to be the perfect show. It's going to happen. I swear it's going to happen. This is going to be it. I'm fine. Everything's great. Everything's fine. I'm calm. Wow, I just realized the Perfect Podcast Show almost looks like the Perfect Poo Cast Show. Huh. It's been like that for a while, and no one's ever said anything. The Perfect Poo Cast Show. Great. It's supposed to be pod. The D looks like another O. Just realized that. We need to fix that in the back, please. Thank you. All right, but before we get to the rest of the show, we have a joke sent in. I used to do inspiring motivational quotes, but then we started doing jokes to add more humor into the world, because that's what we're trying to do at the Perfect Podcast Show. Create a better world for tomorrow and today and maybe yesterday if we could time travel, which we can't yet, but that would be perfect if we could. Anyways, today's joke was sent in by Madeline in Taipei, Taiwan. Is that right? Let me just make sure I got that correct. Yes, I almost said Taipei, Thailand, which would be a mistake, and then it wouldn't be the perfect show. But so far, because it wasn't a mistake, and I thought it was, it's still the perfect show. So Madeline in Taipei sent in this great joke. What do you call a deer who has good senses? What do you call a deer that has good senses? The answer? The punchline? That buck can hear. That's right. What do you call a deer that has good senses? That buck can hear. Wow. Thanks, Madeline. That was a great one. If you have a joke you want to send in, there will be a phone line where you can call and leave a joke. Text, leave your joke. Or if you just want to leave a message about the show, suggestions for the show, anything you want to get off your chest, you want it to be anonymous, you can call into this number and leave that message. If you want to know what the number is, we haven't set it up yet because we're trying to figure out how to get a landline hooked up. There's no landlines really anymore, and I want it to be a landline, so that way someone always has to sit by it and answer it. We're not going to have an answering machine. Someone has to answer it live, and they will jot down whatever you say. But hooking up a landline and having someone answer it 24/7 is becoming a little bit of an issue, but it'll be fine. We're going to have that number so soon. Hopefully, maybe next month, maybe next week, maybe next year, but it's going to happen. I promise you it's going to happen, because this is the Perfect Podcast Show where everything is perfect. Podcast with a D, not poo cast. Just want to say that. All right, it's almost time for this week's guest. But before we get to that, we got to pay some bills and listen to a word from this week's sponsor. Episode of the Perfect Podcast Show is brought to you by Coming soon to Unsolved America, a case like no other. 15 years ago, someone went missing and they've never been found. One morning, Eliza Washington went out to the grocery store and never came back. Did they get lost in the freezer section? Did they get stuck looking for ripe pineapples and watermelon? Nobody knows, because it's an unsolved case. A case like no other. A case about a missing person. That person is Eliza Washington, and they're lost, and nobody knows where they are. So if you know where they are, don't tell us, because this is an unsolved case and we made a whole podcast about it. So again, if you know where they are, or if you're even Eliza Washington, do not tell us. Don't email us, don't call us, don't DM us on social media, because we made an entire podcast about you being missing. So please, listen but don't tell us if you've been found. New on Unsolved America. Ooh, Unsolved America. That sounds very intriguing, but not as intriguing as our next guest. Like that segue, it was real smooth and perfect. My next guest is an American animator, filmmaker, and artist who began his career at the age of 6 as a solo French horn player. But after a freak accident involving his pet bird, this guest quit music and found catharsis from his trauma through cartooning. This guest has wowed audiences from across the globe with his animated films and live drawing performances. Please clap real loud and cheer, and I won't hear it, but I want you to do it anyways. Please welcome to the Perfect Podcast Show, Mickey Pinch.
Woo! Can I clap?
You can clap. I feel like I was doing like the Muppet, like the Muppet clap I was just doing. Which is silent because they are, spoiler, puppets.
Are you not a Muppet?
I'm a Muppet, but also Muppets are puppets, so which means I'm a puppet. Aren't we all puppets, really, if you think about it?
I know I am. I need to apologize. I thought this was the Perfect Poo cast.
You saw the sign and thought Perfect Poo cast show. Okay.
Yes. So I might not be fully prepared for what's about to happen.
Okay. Did you, when you Perfect Poo cast, were you thinking we were going to be sharing stories or graphics of Perfect Poo?
Yes.
Okay. It's not that. It's a podcast. It's video podcast where, you know, we're talking and we're chatting and there won't be any poo except maybe segue Winnie the Pooh, who's a cartoon, which is what you do, Cartoon Man. Wow. That's Mickey me. Pinch, welcome to the show. I feel like your shirt and your background was that loud? That thing I just did? I hit my desk. But your shirt and your background, like that mirror back there, it's very animation, very animated, cartooninated,
very on brand all the time.
It is on brand. If you were to describe your brand in, what was that?
I was gonna say thank you so much for having me here.
Oh yes, thank you for being here all the way from Cartoonland.
From Pinchland.
Pinchland. Oh, is that a town in Cartoonland, or is it its own government run by Mickey Pinch?
It's a bit of both, honestly.
Okay.
It mostly exists in my brain.
Wow.
As you know.
That's a good place to live.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So you were a horn player and then something happened with your pet bird. Do you want to talk about that, or if it's too traumatic, we can just skip past it?
Yeah, I it was a long time ago, and I'm not sure how comfortable I feel talking about it. Did you disappear on me?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm listening. Absolutely listening to what you were saying. That's a terrible story that you shared. Although
I didn't even say anything.
Sorry. I had you on mute for just a moment because I was coughing and I didn't want anyone to hear it. But welcome to the show. It's you know, when you talk about people say like, oh, I don't want to be dramatic, but no one says I don't want to be traumatic, right? And so it's like, oh, that person's they're over dramatic, but no one says they're over traumatic. I wonder what that would be like.
Someone who just causes a lot of trauma.
Causes trauma. That's worse than drama. Drama is like talking about people, but they literally cause trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Spicy.
That is a spicy. I mean, peppers are kind of traumatic in a way. If you were not expecting to have a spicy pepper, that could be traumatic for you.
I lost a family member due to that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Jalapeno, or was it something worse?
It was something much worse, and it's actually going to be on that Unsolved America podcast. We don't know.
They're doing an episode on it, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Someone lost to a pepper.
Yeah,
and
we still
wow.
Don't know where they are.
Wow.
And I hope we never do, because I really like that podcast.
Yeah, if it's solved, then they can't have it on the show anymore. They have to erase the episode and everything they did.
Yeah, what am I going to listen to? There's no other podcast I like besides that one.
Oh. even this podcast? I mean, I guess you thought
I'm
this was
so sorry. I also love this podcast.
I mean,
so
you thought it
much.
was a poo cast. So you thought it was a poo cast. So it makes sense. This is maybe your top one poo cast. But now that you know it's a podcast, is it up in the
I would say it's my number 2 podcast.
Great. Are you saying number 2 because of the poo cast thing? Is that what you said, number 2?
I don't get it.
Number 2. Anyways, welcome to the show. Again, so sorry about your bird and the horn, but it's great that you do cartoons. And today on the show, we were going to create a live cartoon. Is that right?
It is right. And I would prefer, if you wouldn't stop bringing up my past traumas, because
okay,
it's
I'm being traumatic right now.
It's very triggering to me to even think about birds or talk about birds or even draw birds. So
okay, no, I will not. From this point forward, I will not mention any birds.
Thank you.
Or horns of any kind. I'll put in horns and birds in there. I mean, yeah, let's create a cartoon right now, but we could also create, I mean, this might be too traumatic, the unsolved case of your family member who died of a pepper. That might be too much. So
yeah, let's throw it in there. Well, maybe we'll see what
maybe
happens.
It'll just happen. Maybe
it'll come up naturally.
Right.
And yeah, who knows what could unfold. I remember a few months ago, you and I talked about how fun it would be if we had our own cartoon show, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to have an audience to watch us make it and see what they say, and maybe they can even tell us what to draw too, or who knows.
That'd be great. Yeah, if anyone wants a live comment, because the perfect podcast show is a live show. If you comment later, we won't be able to add that in because it's not happening live. But if you comment now while we are creating this cartoon, then maybe your ideas can be included in the cartoon. Before I go on, saying cartoon and animation, is it the same or is it different? Is there if you say cartoon, is it like lessening what it is compared to animation?
I like both. I mean, it's interesting because people in the comics world sometimes they call themselves cartoonists, and then people in the animation world don't call themselves that, and then comics people don't like when animation people call themselves cartoonists, I think. But I think cartooning is kind of an umbrella term. So I don't know, I watch cartoons, and I make them, so I feel like I am a cartoonist in that. But I'm also an animator because I make them move. So maybe today I'm cartooning because we're just doing drawings and they're not going to be animated.
Oh, so is it cartoon is the bigger umbrella? Did you say umbrella? I think you said umbrella. And then underneath that, when you make them move, it's animation.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? That's good. Yeah, it's like we're making cartoons, but then when you make them move, now you're an animator.
Yeah.
Is there something below that? Or above it? Or whatever direction it would go?
I mean, you could say filmmaker.
Oh, yeah, because then you're making the story. And you're making...
It sounds more important if you say film than cartoon.
Right.
But I like cartoon.
Even though you're not doing a camera like this, which is how cameras work.
Yeah,
which is just like
this.
Yeah, great. So today we're going to be filmmaking an animated cartoon. Yeah, kind of, maybe just cartooning.
Whatever you want.
Okay,
it's interchangeable. We're gonna say, who cares?
Who cares? I like that.
We're filming something today.
Who cares? We are filming.
We technically are filming something.
We are filming something. That's true. So we are filming, and we're going to. We've always talked about making that animated cartoon show together, and today we're going to start that process live on the perfect podcast show.
Yes. and nothing will go wrong.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. You know, my guests normally don't say that, even though they know that in my heart, I want this to be perfect. I'm doing this right now in my heart, which is a little lower, but right here, I want it to be perfect. And they usually come on and they just la-di-da, don't try to be perfect. But thank you, Mickey Pinch, professional cartoon man, for wanting it to be perfect today.
You're so welcome.
That's a relief off of me. Thank you.
I mean, my hair is perfect, so
it is. That is perfect. Thank you for finally getting it cut. You had really long curls.
Oh no, there's the one hair that keeps. Oh, I lied. Look at this.
I mean, maybe that's on purpose. So then it is perfect.
Should we start over?
Yeah. Hey, welcome to the Perfect Podcast Show. I'm Keith. Oh, not that far back. I see what you mean. Welcome, Mickey Pinch. All right, let's get to it. Make some cartoons. So let's pull up that screen. All right, so this is literally blank, nothing. And we're going to start with the cartoon. So you have more experience in the world of cartooning and animation. So what's the first thing you need? Do you start with a character? Do you start with a location? Do you start with a whole concept and idea?
I think I prefer starting with the name of the character.
The name of the character.
And their personality.
Great.
And then that'll affect how they look.
Okay, so how about Dan? Is that a good cartoon name, or should it be more like Daniel? No, Daniel.
Let's say Dan.
Dan. It's real simple, but look at this. This is happening live. Dan. Okay. Nice. You're making this live right now. You are making this live. Dan. Great. Thank you. It wasn't perfect. Now it's perfect. So Dan. This is maybe the name of the show as well. Dan.
He's the new sensation. He is the new cartoon of our generation.
Dan. There he is. I mean, it's not going to be this, but it seems like it's acceptable because of Doug. You know, there's a show, Doug. That's his name. A whole show. It was on a bunch of things, so it can happen. So Dan. So Dan's personality is next. You said, right?
Yeah. What is Dan? Is he kind? Is he human? Is he an animal? Is he, what's his story? You think?
I feel like Dan is an animal who fell off of a balcony into like a vat of liquid that turns you human, and this was on purpose. And accidentally there wasn't enough of the solution in there. So he's like half human, half animal, but not like centaur, not like clean. It's like messy, but he's Dan, the new sensation.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear my cat?
I mean,
maybe he's part cat.
I think Dan is part cat, and when he talks, sometimes he turned, "Hey, I'm Dan." It just comes out like an issue he has, where his cat side comes out a little bit more.
I like to start with
I don't know if he's half human, but he's part human, part cat because of a freak accident in a vat. Whoa, it's Dan. Great, and this is going to be I think we should say like young adult kids this show is for. So it's going to be, it's going to be something sweet that they can watch and maybe learn from and have stuffed animals of, and it's going to be good merchandise, and it's going to be like a cute little thing that oh, there's the cat. I see it now. And he's Dan and he's cute, and parents will think he's he's sad. It's for kids, but this is good because kids can show emotion. Again, he's a cute animal. He's a role model for kids who will want to dress up as Dan for Halloween. So he's cute and cuddly and I'm in pain. Okay, well, yeah, he's supposed to be like a cute. This is good though, because kids have to express emotions, so maybe Dan helps them. He's real ugly. Express emotions.
Ugly.
I mean, he's real.
You said he fell, and he's mixed with a cat.
Yeah, I didn't know he would be like he's Dan! Exclamation
And
point. So I didn't know he'd be in.
Toxic waste.
Oh, it's still on him. It's still on it. Oh, it's like, did this just happen, or this is like years later?
Oh, this is years later. I don't think
Oh,
he's ever like really recovered.
Oh,
Like,
he's still in pain, and he still has the waste dripping off of him, and he's crying. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Dan. Kids are gonna love him. Parents are gonna love that their kids love him. I can't believe he's still dripping with toxic waste right now, and he's crying. And is that his catchphrase? I'm in pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
People, kids will be, dressing up as him for Halloween, like, oh, I'm in pain, and people will laugh.
Yeah, it doesn't. He's not very funny. He looks really sad though. Okay. Well, that's Dan. All right. So his personality is that he's in pain.
Yeah.
All right. You seem okay about this. You seem very excited about it, but it looks great.
I want it to be believable.
Yeah, it's definitely believable. I think we've all have seen someone like that in our lives, who's dripping with toxic waste currently and crying, and all they say is, "I'm in pain." Okay, so we have Dan.
Yeah.
So that's our first character. What's next? Do we have like where they live, their friends, what they're doing?
Yeah. Where does he live, you think?
I mean, I feel like he lives in like a nice apartment. He probably doesn't have a house, but he lives in the city, so he has like a nice apartment that he goes to, and he can sort of just blend in with all the other units that are there, and no one even no one really notices him in this just regular standard apartment, just his home. Nothing special about it, because Dan's so special. So like, this is just a regular, easy, simple apartment. Yeah, there's a door. Great. Yeah, there's the simple door. It's a building. Yeah, there's windows. It's just real simple. Oh yeah, and he lives in the city, so they got to have some bars just for security, and also so no one falls out. That makes a lot of sense. So he lives in this apartment, and he likes his neighbors, and they know about him, so no one has a problem, and it's just a simple, easy apartment that he lives in. Okay, it's is this like the moon or something? I think this is Dan. Okay.
Dan.
Oh, and it's like a logo popping in, like, hey, I'm Dan. This is where. Oh, wait a second. He's on the roof. Okay, so he's up there waving hi to his neighbors. That's nice. Okay, so yeah, again, kid friendly. Hey kids, this is where I live. Yeah, that's nice. Nothing.
Yeah. Oh,
nothing going on. Oh, half Dan. It's the other half of Dan. So that's where Dan lives.
Here she is.
Hey.
She's the inspiration.
Inspiration for Dan. Wow. Okay, so that's where Dan lives, and it's nice. There's a nice fence outside, so that way. Oh, wait a second. Is it barbed wire fence?
Yeah, just to keep it safe. He's in a.
Wait a second. Is this Dan? Does Dan live in a prison? Is that what's happening? Is this is starting to look like a prison house that he lives in?
He could.
I mean, I was, again, it's for kids, so just thinking it's like nice and friendly, but there's a lot of bars, and he's like, is he trying to escape? Is that what's happening here? He's in a prison and he's trying to escape. Okay, I thought it was going to be in like a nice, friendly apartment that Dan lives in. But there's a barbed wire fence and bars on the windows, maybe to cells. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, let's make it a prison. Here, he's gonna wear his.
Oh wow. Okay, so
maybe he went to jail.
Wow. So Dan is in federal penitentiary now. And okay, it's. Wow. So Dan is in prison again. This is a kid-friendly young adult show. Dan is in federal penitentiary, jail, maybe medium security prison. since there's a roof he got on. I mean, maybe that's him escaping. So this could be maximum security prison.
Yeah, maybe he's like in a cage on the
Oh,
roof.
they put him in a cage on the roof, like he's a pigeon.
Yeah,
he doesn't even have his own
pigeon.
cell.
I don't want to talk about birds.
Sorry, I just birds came up because it looked like he was in a pigeon cage. You know how pigeons live on a roof, and okay, sorry. So okay, he doesn't even have his own cell, so he lives in a cage on the roof.
Yeah.
And he's there, and okay.
Yeah, and maybe his best friend is like a friendly prison guard.
Oh, okay. So he has a friend. That's good. And he's like, "Hey, Dan." Okay, so
like
that's
a bat, you know.
Oh, to keep away spiders.
Yes.
Okay, great. So he has a prison guard. Hey, look, he's friendly. That's good. That's good. Dan has a friend who's a prison guard who has a bat that sort of looks like a bloody machete, but that's okay. It's a bat. Definitely not a bloody machete. So there he is. So he's there. He's in prison or jail. Dan is there. Yeah, get me out of here. Okay, well, he's in pain and he wants to get out. Okay.
I feel like it just makes him more sympathetic, makes him more relatable.
It does.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, let's see if we can do one more. Because there's Dan, he's in pain and he's in jail.
All right, so what's the last element for this cartoon show? Does he need like a villain? Does he need
who is his enemy in the jail, or does someone come and visit him in the jail? Maybe it's like his sister who can come and visit him in the jail. Yeah. And she's the one person who really does care about him, and it's supportive and it's about family. And that's, so this is Dan's sister, Teresa. Again, kid friendly. There's going to be toys and stuffed animals and girls and boys will want to dress like all of these characters for Halloween because they're just so inspiring. Oh, look at the eraser. Wow, this is happening live. The Dan cartoon animated series. And there's Dan's sister, Teresa. She's just a normal girl. She comes and she supports her brother by coming. Oh, what? Oh, wow. She's really strong. She looked like just like a nice, normal, just supportive sister, but she is buff. She's really buff. Wow. She's huge. Okay, she's holding is that a chicken? Sorry, not a bird. That's Dan. She's holding Dan, squeezing him in her arms. Oh wow, he's in more pain. So she comes to visit. Wow. Oh, she's wearing a shirt. That's good. Okay, she comes to visit her brother just to squeeze the life out of him.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, it's a good.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Wow. Look at this is great. So it's real funny and she's supportive and she is jacked. She's on something with the hair on her arms. Wow. So there's kid friendly. She comes, my life is great, is pain. My life is pain. Okay, so everything about Dan is in pain. He's in jail. Kid-friendly show. Great. This is kid-friendly. Yeah. Everyone's going to want to dress like
Everyone's
Teresa.
got a big buff sister, you know?
Everyone has a big buff sister who picks them up and squeezes the life out of them with her cute little hair ties there. Wow. Okay, good. She's got some makeup on, she's a little heart. That's great. So let's see the Dan's story so far with these 3 panels. It's Dan. I'm in pain. Get me out of here. He's in jail with his buddy with a bloody bat or regular bat. He's in jail. And then every now and then his sister Teresa visits and my life is pain. And
they also have a friend who's a spider.
Oh, there's a friend who's a spider. Okay, wow. Again, kid-friendly, cute show. Oh, wow.
He's like, gonna eat ya.
Gonna eat
his line.
Gonna eat ya. So his catchphrase is, I'm gonna eat ya. And so maybe here, Teresa's helping Dan by like lifting him away from the spider. She's very supportive. This is intense. Oh, I hate spiders. My brother. Okay, well, she hates her brother,
That's her catchphrase.
That's her catchphrase. All right, well, that's not really kid friendly. This is not really. This is
What?
pretty intense. It's a little traumatic, I might say.
I thought you were into all this.
It's real. It looks great. It's intense. Wow. Okay, well, there we go. A live cartoon on the Perfect Podcast with Cartoon Man Mickey Pinch. Wow, time went by fast. We're out of time. It just goes fast, like when you're just like a bird diving for its prey is what it feels like. How fast? Sorry, just brought the bird in there. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here and drawing that kids cartoon that I'm sure is going to go just fine for when kids watch it.
They're gonna love it.
They're gonna love it. Well, thank you. We'll follow Mickey Pinch on TikTok and see all of the cool animations and drawings and cartoons and filmmaking that he's created on TikTok at Pinch Cartoons. Check it out. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yay! I always like to end with final thoughts, and this is for you as well, Pinch. So as you go through the week, and if anything gets stressful, just remember that everyone is